I was a practicing dentist and I ended up having to have bilateral hip surgery. The hip surgery went bad. I ended up with osteomyelitis and I ended up in a hospital bed in my living room for 9 months. And I was on these IV antibiotics and then oral antibiotics well over a year. So my gut biome was destroyed. And of course, I didn't really know or understand any of that back then. About 3 years ago, I started seeing double. And the diplopia was limited me. I could no longer drive. It was just terrible. They ended up putting me on prednisone, high dose prednisone. And I was on the high dose prednisone for almost a year. The first time I read my diary of the last year, it just brought me to tears because you forget how bad it was. So after I got off the prednisone, I really started going downhill. And so I started seeing doctors. I saw 9 different doctors and 7 of them were specialists. And I spent all kinds of money on their treatments, oxygen treatments, and I spent about $27,000. And all I got back really was a blank stare. I hadn't cooked in over a year. I did nothing. I couldn't go anywhere without a walker. And I've been using my walker now probably close to a year and a half, I guess. I used a cane for many years before that because of those hip surgeries. My husband did everything, including the cooking, all the cleaning. And I probably took 5 naps a day. And if I wasn't sleeping, I just had to stay in bed. And if I just didn't move, it was like the least amount of pain that I would have by just laying there. And he was so patient. I started losing my cognitive function. It's not just forgetting your daughter's name or calling this daughter that one or her grandkids the wrong name. It was a lot worse than that. That scared me. This loss of cognitive function was, I maybe had now for about 4 months that at the time. And I thought, okay, if it came on fast, my thoughts were, then you better figure out what it is fast. It's time to get rid of it fast. And so it was shortly after that, Pam, that I met you. And I'm pleased to say that I have about 85% of that back. I couldn't have a conversation like I am talking with you right now without stopping and forgetting what I was saying or forgetting the word. That was so common. Oh, I mean, it's almost embarrassing, but I felt nudging from Jesus over and over, 4 times, different people mentioning parasites. Have you ever thought about parasites? Have you ever heard about, possibly the symptoms are parasites? And I put it on the back burner. I didn't roll my eyes or anything like that, but I didn't think, why would I have parasites? In school, in dental school, we were not trained or taught anything about parasites. The reason I chose to go with Live Disease Free was because I'd already seen 9 doctors and spent so much money, and I was only getting worse. They didn't even help me in the smallest amount. It was absolutely zero help. And I knew that if I was going to get well, it was going to be that I found somebody that could help me, not that I could go to some doctor. There was nothing the medical doctors could offer me. There was nothing. So I started with Live Disease Free in May, and it was right after our middle daughter's birthday. And like I did say earlier, that I think it was the 3rd day that I could tell that I was on the right track. I could tell that I was getting better. And, the pain level was getting lower. And I was saying that, I didn't want to tell my family because I'd given them, tell so many times, I think I'm getting better. But I held off to make sure. But yeah, within a week to 9 days, I think I told them on day 9 that I think it's really working. And I was able to get rid of my walker. It was less than 3 weeks. It might have been 2 weeks after starting the treatment. I had a liver scan, and I was told I had fatty liver disease. That was a year ago, June, and my liver enzymes in my liver is back to perfectly normal. I do not have liver disease. I'm so grateful. It's the biggest blessing. I couldn't lift up a dish. It was excruciating to lift up a dinner dish. I can use my hands. They're back to normal. Oh, she had given me braces for my hands and I threw them away. My shoulders hurt so much I couldn't raise my arms above my head. This is about as high as I could go. It was excruciating. My neck hurt so bad that even in bed, I couldn't turn my head right or left. Even laying on my pillow, I could, even just to move my head was excruciating. I kind of think that was the worst pain was my neck, but everything hurt. My knees hurt, every large joint hurt, and my legs ached. They ask you at the hospital a level of 1 to 10. Most of the time I was at a 10. I also had some crazy symptoms of my heart. My heart was going up to 160 beats a minute laying in bed. I was sound asleep. I did the sleep study, and I was put on a drug to lower my heart rate. And they told me I had asthma. I don't. My heart's fine now today, and my lungs are fine. I breathe perfectly fine. And I said to them, when you see me on Easter, I think you're going to see a whole different person. And sure enough, I mean, I was able to help. I was able to help with the dishes. I was able to help with the cooking. I was getting these terrible cramps in my feet and in my hands. And after treating for the parasites, I threw those hand braces away and the cramps stopped in my feet. So the pain that the parasites were causing is unbelievable. And I passed a lot of worms, and these parasites were long. They were from 6 inches long, easily up to, it looked like maybe 2 feet. I started measuring them and they were easily 15 inches long. I have a jar and a half so far. I don't save them all, but I've saved several. I will keep doing this until I'm completely back to normal. I know the cognitive issue is already so much better, and I know I'm going to get the rest of the way there. I feel like I felt probably a good 10 years ago, and I still have a little bit to go. These parasites get everywhere. They are in your hands. They're not just in your gut. They're in your body. They were in my brain. I learned that these floaters I've got, which I've had for probably 2 decades, that's a parasite. I knew I was losing my mind, and just treating with the parasites, that alone is, thank God, praise God, that I feel like I've got almost all of my cognitive abilities back. The pain in my knees went away, but it went away forever, for good. That hasn't come back. So I really think those are parasites. I think that was parasites in my knees causing all that pain. I never thought my arthritis pain would just go away. And my knees feel great. My leg muscles, my large muscles, I don't have any aching in my large muscles, not even a little bit. And that feeling that they're not getting oxygen. After taking the parasite treatments, my legs feel great. My muscles, I'm getting my strength back. If I'm making dinner, or actually I get in the car and I drive, my eyesight, I got my eyesight back. And so I was able to start driving again, and praise God, my pain level has gone from a 10 to probably about a 3. It's so easy to blow off the thought that this is a treatment that could possibly work. I heard it 4 times. It took the 4th time of somebody just nonchalant saying, "Have you ever thought about parasites?" I just kind of threw it on the back burner, and honestly, I feel it was God just kept nudging me. In that 4th time, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. I can't even begin. I wish I could just transfer the enthusiasm, how I feel that I have my life back. I can do pretty much what I did 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And I was so sick. Neither me nor my husband thought I'd make it through last Christmas. That's when my heart rate was 160 beats per minute. And even while I slept, I couldn't catch my breath to walk from my bedroom to my kitchen. I would be so out of breath. That is completely gone. And it happened fast. It happened so fast. It's worth it. It's what would you do? What would you pay? What would you give up to feel good again? I will never take that for granted again. I know I took it for granted for many, many years that I felt well. Feeling well is it's the biggest gift. You lose it, and then getting it back, if you get it back, oh my gosh, it's the biggest gift to have a second chance. It's the biggest gift. Thank you very much.
I just wanted to thank you for everything you've done in helping my wife. Thank you.